Hey YouTube, it's me, Brianna. A couple days ago on YouTube I asked you guys if you would like to hear some of my personal struggle with generalized anxiety disorder and social anxiety disorder, and you said you did, so I figured I'd make a little video to tell you guys about my experiences, things that have helped me and things that have not, and if nothing else, I'm hoping that this will make some of you feel a lot less alone in the world. So basically, I have had some form of anxiety for as long as I can remember. I noticed it ramping up a lot in high school because you're going through puberty and you already feel weird as hell, but then you have all these people just looking at you while you're feeling weird as hell and you're self-conscious. That's probably when I noticed that I wasn't doing a lot of things that my peers were. I didn't want to go out in public very much. I was in theater, but auditions were really, really hard for me because I felt like I was the center of attention and that people were judging me. Anything academic or extracurricular where I felt like I was going to be looked at and or judged, I would either not go or I would agree to go and then cancel and or get sick. It wasn't until college, though, that I realized how wrong everything was. I went away to college, and my first week or so was great because I had to go out and do things and make friends out of necessity because I didn't know anyone and I didn't have anything to do. I sort of faked being an extrovert. I'm not entirely sure when it happened, but at some point I started having panic attacks. I always thought they were more brought on by fear. And in these situations, I wasn't afraid of anything. So I didn't really think of them as panic attacks. I wasn't sure what was going on. I was back home one weekend. We were going to go see a musical in downtown Atlanta. I was trying to pick out an outfit for the show. I couldn't find a single thing I liked or wanted to wear, and my mom was trying to tell me that what I was wearing was fine, and I had to hurry up and get ready and get in the car, and I flipped. I just flew off the handle at her, and I started screaming and crying. Eventually, I did get in the car. The whole way there, I just remember shaking and feeling completely wiped out and exhausted, and realizing that, if I kept going through whatever that was, that I was going to need some kind of medicine or something because I hadn't seen that in anybody else, and I didn't like the person I became when I went through that. So after that, I can't remember quite how the conversation with my mom went, but I was able to talk her into helping me make an appointment to see somebody about the anxiety and the panic attacks, and got medicine pretty quickly. And I remember the first thing I was on was Zoloft. And I remember sitting in my first class of the day and just like shaking and feeling like everyone was looking at me and everything was heightened. And I remember worrying for probably the first couple days, like, if this is what it's like to be medicated, I don't want to be medicated because it was so much worse than when I wasn't. So fast forward a couple months, I'm settled into the medicine. Most of my triggers aren't affecting me at all, and if they are, it's definitely not as much as they were before. Everything just kind of stays fairly chill. It stayed like that for probably 3 or 4 years until I graduated from college. After that, I moved out on my own. I moved to Florida. No friends or family there. That's when I started vlogging. You can tell how deeply unhappy I am if you go back and look at those vlogs, because it's so clear how uncomfortable I am with myself and with my life. I realized that the medicine wasn't cutting it anymore. So they adjusted my dose, and that worked for a while. I didn't feel like I was living the way I should be living. I didn't feel like I was doing as much as I should be doing. I kept seeing people do normal things that I thought I was supposed to be able to do on this medicine, and I just couldn't. I couldn't go do things on my own. Like if I wanted to go to the bookstore or something, I was just not able to make myself leave the house on my own. I was so afraid of, I guess, getting there and having people staring at me and judging that. I couldn't go to the movies alone. I pretty much couldn't talk on the phone, so I knew something I had to change again. Fast forward a little bit more, and I get a different job and have to move back in with my parents. Everything seemed to be going okay. I wasn't super comfortable because I had made another big change, but it wasn't anything I felt like I couldn't handle. Until my friend Reggie killed himself. And that was a huge catastrophic life event, obviously. He was very young. It was really sudden. And I went through a period after he died for like a week and a half at least, where I just kept seeing death everywhere. And then not too long after that, my friend Dallas killed herself. And to lose 2 friends back to back like that is just, especially in your 20s, it's just earth-shattering. You You don't expect people your age to die. I could not get images out of my head of my family dying in a car crash or waking up in the middle of the night to learn that one of my best friends had like drowned or something, you know, something horrific like that, just because at this point my brain was screaming at me that, you know, everyone you love is going to die and there's nothing you can do about it. So that pushed me into a pretty deep anxiety spiral. The grief from losing both of my friends compounded with the anxiety, and I felt like I was about to have a psychotic break. I finally got the courage to suggest switching medication. This was so hard because I didn't want to take care of myself at that point. I wasn't actively suicidal, but I didn't necessarily want to be around either. I didn't want to do anything extra to make myself feel better, and to me, taking a new medication would be making myself feel better. When I finally did get help, I realized how bad it had been. I switched to Wellbutrin, which was great in a lot of respects, but bad in some others. I could go to the movies alone, I could go shopping, I could talk to strangers, I could just basically live my life without all of the overthinking I had done up until that point. I could not believe that one medicine could make that much of a difference. Then, of course, we hit some side effects. My experience with Wellbutrin, I didn't have many side effects. I felt really bad from coming off the Zoloft, but the biggest issue was that from the Wellbutrin, I wasn't eating. I would just not have an appetite, and then if I ate a little bit or, you know, even enough to constitute a meal, I would vomit or get nauseated to the point that I wanted to vomit. So I lost like probably 16 pounds in a month, and that's when I realized that it wasn't good because, first of all, I'm a very tiny person, and losing that much weight that fast is horrifying. Second of all, I had no energy, I wasn't sleeping well, my skin was breaking out, I had, you know, all kinds of terrible mood swings because I was only getting maybe 500 calories a day if I was lucky. My performance at work was suffering, I wasn't putting out anything creatively. Despite all the good things the medication was doing for me, it wasn't worth me losing my health or my job or anything like that. So I went to the doctor again, explained everything that had happened to me and what I was going through, and he put me on Paxil. I've been on Paxil for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks now. Maybe almost a month even, and it's been good so far. I'm feeling everything that I felt on the Wellbutrin, minus all the bad stuff, and I feel like I can handle the world. There are a lot of things I have to talk myself into doing now. Not because it's hard, but because it's just habit. I went to the movies by myself, and it was so bizarre because I felt fine with it, but then my brain was telling me, wait, last time you did this, you were very uncomfortable, so try to be uncomfortable. I don't know why that's a thing. I don't know why that's a feature that the brain has enabled by default. You should not ever feel bad for how you choose to deal with your anxiety. Don't let someone else make you feel bad about taking medicine or seeing a therapist or anything like that. If you do something even like, you know, deactivate your Facebook because it stresses you out or something, don't let anyone give you shit for that. Don't feel bad about taking care of yourself because it's totally okay to take care of yourself. That's something I wish I'd learned a long time ago. The stigma against mental and emotional illness does not do anyone any favors because it makes it so much harder to get help and to get better when society teaches you just not to talk about it. And I wanted to make this video too because I've done a lot of things in my life that I am proud of, and I'm on a course that I'm proud of. I'm accomplishing some goals, I'm setting new ones for myself, and I don't think I could have done any of that if I hadn't had help, if I hadn't gotten medication, if I hadn't talked to therapists, if I hadn't found a good and healthy support network. And that's what I want you guys to know. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to limit yourself in your dreams just because some chemicals in your brain are weird or something. You should be able to just get everything out of life that you want to. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy. Your brain is fighting against you every day. But it is possible to live a full life with anxiety, with depression. People do it all the time. And also, I don't want you guys to ever feel alone. If you're struggling with mental or emotional health, I want you to feel free to hit up one of the one of the resources in the comment box below. And if that doesn't work for you, you can even reach out to me. I will do my very best to listen and help whoever I can, however I can. And if I can't, I will try to refer you to someone who is much more qualified. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!